Hi, I'm Daniel Shields, and if you are new to this channel, I teach how to improve yourself and get a better life through travel, language learning, fitness, and movement arts. So if that sounds interesting to you, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications underneath this video. In today's video, I'm going to talk about my daily language learning routine that I'm using in my attempt to learn 43 languages. Now, I've gone through different experiments with how I schedule my language learning, and I want to share the results of that experimentation with you so that you have some clues on how best to structure your study routine based on your goals. My language study approach is based on two techniques: Glossika and parallel reading, which I've talked about in previous videos. So in the morning is when I do my Glossika, and then I do the parallel reading later in the day. And the reason I do this is the Glossika is the most defined, objective part. It's the most structured part of my training. And it also tends to be in the languages which I have the lowest level of ability. And I find that once you get to a certain level of ability in a language, you really don't lose it. It can kind of temporarily go dormant if you go a long time without using it, but it comes back very quickly just with a little bit of exposure. Whereas a new language, it's a little easier to slide back. Like if you're very new to a language, you haven't really internalized it in the way that makes it kind of stick with you. So I find that when you're starting a new language, it's even more important to have a strict daily discipline in that language, to use it every day. I also find that Glossika requires a lot of focus, in a lot of ways more so than parallel reading, because you don't have plot to pull you in. It's almost like a meditative activity. You really have to focus and screen out distractions. So I find this easiest to do first in the morning. Before anything else is distracting me, before my attention is being pulled in different directions, I do my Glossika. So the other major advantage to doing Glossika first thing in the morning, every morning, even if you don't do Glossika, any goal you're trying to accomplish that requires long-term daily practice, deliberate practice, the morning is your best time to schedule that. All habits have a trigger, and waking up in the morning is your most powerful trigger. This is where your brain has just gone through a full sleep cycle. It hasn't taken in any new data yet, and it's a very clear marker. If you develop a habit, I wake up and I do this, it's very easy to sustain that habit because you're less prone to having unexpected events distract you from it. Whereas if you have a habit that happens in the middle of the day or at the end of the day, something unexpected can pull you out of that. Someone can give you good news or bad news that puts you in a distracted state, or someone could request your help with something that breaks the flow of your routine. But that morning window is a very powerful part of your day. So I would suggest consider what's most important to you. For me, that's language learning at this stage in my life, and I expect for most of the rest of it. So language learning is the most important thing for me. It's going to require a lot of time sustained over a long period of my life, so I put that first in the day every day. But I take a kind of yin and yang approach. So the yang, the structured work that I do every single day, goes first. The yin, the more fluid part of my study routine, goes later in the day. And some days, if I'm particularly busy or I have some other focus or I'm meeting up with somebody, whatever happens, I retain the flexibility to put my parallel reading on pause. Other days, I'll just parallel read all day. I'll take very little breaks. It's very nice having this kind of flexible structure that works around my life. So generally what this adds up to is between 3 to 5 hours of Glossika in the morning, and between 1 and 6, even 8 hours of parallel reading during the rest of the day. And with parallel reading, I also lump in like listening to podcasts or watching YouTube videos or having a conversation using the language even without parallel text. Now within the context of Glossika, I've done a lot of different schedules with different numbers of new sentences per day across different numbers of languages. So for a while I was doing 10 sentences a day in a moderate size language set. This is very good. This is a very sustainable long-term approach where you get a good amount of review because you get more repetitions of review at higher new sentence counts. So at 5 sentences a day, you're doing 50 reps, but at 10 sentences a day, you're doing 150 reps. So it goes through different tiers like that, where you get a different number of review reps per new sentence as you increase, to compensate for the difficulty of absorbing more and more information in a single wake cycle. Because Glossika is based on waking and sleeping cycles, because you consolidate new information during sleep. So then what I shifted to doing was, because I needed certain languages for certain things, most recently I started really drilling in on Polish and Hungarian, which I'm going to need on my upcoming trip. I started shifting it where I would do 30 sentences a day in Polish and Hungarian, and then only 5 sentences a day in the rest. And that also actually ended up giving me room to add a couple of other languages in that I was curious about and I wanted to try out. But I made such fast progress with the languages where I was doing 30 sentences a day, I'm actually considering narrowing down the range of languages I do and doing 30 sentences a day. So today, and over the past couple of days, I've narrowed it down to my 5 priority languages. So I've already reached the end of the sentence sets in Polish, and I'm focusing on parallel reading and podcasts in that. So the 5 languages I'm doing right now are Hungarian, Indonesian, Persian, Mandarin Chinese, and Japanese. And I expect that within a few months, I'm going to have a very strong, I'm already fairly strong in Chinese and Japanese, but a couple of months of this really intensive drilling, I think I'm going to make extremely rapid progress in them. So of course I'll be doing an update video in the future to tell you how that goes, whether or not I can resist the temptation of adding in the other languages, because I did really enjoy that kind of smorgasbord approach where I was doing 38 languages a day at the minimum amount, and I really enjoyed that, and I was making steady progress in all of them. It was very surprising to me. I didn't actually expect to be able to handle that, but as far as I could observe, I mean, it's hard to measure externally, but based on my own assessment of my progress, I feel like I was making very steady progress in each language, progressing at basically the same rate I would with that amount of time investment if that was the only language I was studying. So investing 5 sentences a day in 20 languages, each language I was progressing as fast as if I had done just 5 sentences a day in just that language. Glossika is new as a tool, and it's only fairly recently that I've started really getting serious about doing it daily and testing out these schedules. So it's still kind of uncharted territory, and I'm still working out the best approach. But of course, that's why I'm doing this channel, is to try to help teach you how you might get what you want out of Glossika. Because it is because at this point I may be the only person pushing it to these extremes, so I think I have a unique vantage point to try to help people clarify what to expect from the tool and the best way to utilize it. But I'm going to continue really pushing hard with my Glossika study. So in a few months, I'm sure I'll have a lot more insights to share with you. In a few years, I'll probably have some really impressive demonstrations of the skills I've built up with Glossika. So again, if you are new and you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to hit the subscribe button under this video and turn on notifications if you want to see how this project evolves over time. And if you're ready to go ahead and try out Glossika, if you haven't signed up yet, you can see the link in the description. It's an affiliate link, so if you sign up through my link, I get a small commission that helps me keep making these videos, and you get 1,000 free reps in all of their languages, or unlimited free reps in some of their minority languages, such as minor Chinese dialects, Celtic languages, Sorani Kurdish. It's really interesting. I encourage you to learn these languages. I'm a big enthusiast of minority languages. I'm going to be doing videos on why I think it's actually practical to learn small languages. It's also a great way to test out the system if your 1,000 reps isn't enough to convince you. So stay tuned, keep studying, and find your daily discipline. Whether it's language learning or anything else, I really encourage you to build a morning routine. That kind of keystone habit will bring structure to the rest of your day and really give you a lot of leverage over your life and give you the ability to build up impressive skills. Because any skill worth having, to be the best at anything, the main thing that's required is daily, deliberate practice. That's really the key to accomplishing anything difficult. Daily, deliberate practice.